Hey everybody, it's been a while, but we're back. We're gonna do some new stuff now. I got a new setup. I had a problem with the podcast before, but we're back. We're gonna try to do this every week. Uh, we're on video. We're gonna still do the audio, but we're doing video now too. And this week we're gonna talk about the fight, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. And I hate to say it, but I think Jake Paul might be the best thing for boxing. Because, hear me out now, hear me out before anybody gets any ideas on why I'm saying this. Jake Paul is the best thing for boxing because the former Disney star, yes, he was on Disney. He was on a show called, I believe it was called Bizarre Vark or whatever. I don't know. I was too old when it came out. I was over 30 when it came out. Yeah, he fought Mike Tyson, who was 31 years his elder yesterday. 31 years his elder, which I called the fight. I said Mike might have like 3 rounds that he's going to win. If he doesn't take him out in 3 rounds, it's going to go the distance, and he's going to lose the fight for points because he's not going to get knocked out and he's not going to go after him. I was disappointed he didn't go after him in the 8th round, but whatever. It is what it is. So let's get into it. Mike won the first 2 rounds. I was off by 1 round. And yeah, he just didn't get knocked out and he went the distance with somebody who was 31 years his junior. Disney Bizarre Vark star Jake Paul. A lot of people watch that fight for the main reason that why I watch the fight and why a lot of people watch the fight. They want to see Jake Paul get his ass fucking rung up. They hate him. He's such a prick. He's the prick that this sport needs. Because it did bring back like memories. Like I explained to people, hey, the thing about boxing was you even whether you liked it or not, you always watched it because it was more of like a social gathering. Like everybody got together and then they could watch the fight. That was what it was like. People were just watching the fight and everybody was happy. Nothing brings people together than two big fucking men beating the living piss out of each other. And that's what this was. And everybody was rooting for Mike Tyson because everybody hates Bizarre Vark star Jake Paul. I keep getting him mixed up because his brother Logan, who's a wrestler in WWE, who's also a prick, but he's a damn good wrestler. But yeah, I mean, it was a gimmick fight, and the only thing that was a shame about this fight is that there were 2 really good fights on the undercard. That Barrios versus Ramos fight was great. Those guys went the distance. They beat the shit out of each other. Just a great fight. The 2 women, Taylor and Serrano, another great fight. And they were both for titles too, by the way. Just putting that out there. And yeah, 2 great fights on the undercard, and they're going to get overshadowed because everybody just wanted to see Jake Paul get beat the fuck up by Mike Tyson. But yeah, I thought that they were 2 good fights, and thank you, Jake Paul, because you got these 2 to fight in probably the biggest stage that they're going to fight on. 80,000 seats at the Texas Stadium or AT&T Stadium where them boys play, the Cowboys. They're having a great season this year too, by the way. Yeah, I'm just checking over on my computer here because we got to do a whole new thing. Like Spotify took over the thing with Anchor, and it's just really different. So we're gonna try to do this, but it's gonna get us out more too, which I like. Couple things. People complained a lot about this Netflix thing. Oh, Netflix is gonna, because Monday Night Raw is going there, and the NFL's getting a game. They're getting the Christmas games or whatever, or getting 1 game for Christmas. I'm not sure, but they're getting a Christmas game. Oh, the NFL and all that and WWE are in trouble. I had like a little bit of a slowdown and lag with the fight. I mean, it was like a 90-second thing. It wasn't that bad. I was only really 90 seconds behind. It didn't really lag out on me as much as everybody else did, and it didn't freeze on me that much. It only froze on me like 90 seconds. So they're getting there. They're going to iron the kinks out. They're going to get this done. This was like their first big thing. This was like a stress test, more or less, for them. That's why I think they did the fight. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was that bad. It's only going to get better. Like I said, this was more of a stress test thing for them. Not as many people are going to watch Raw as the fight. Like, I'll be watching Raw. And the NFL, they'll get that. That'll be more of a stress test, too. But they're going to start doing live stuff. I mean, it's about time. Peacock does it. Paramount Plus does it. Who else does it? Hulu does it. Hulu has live sports. But, yeah, I mean, it wasn't terrible. Just unfortunate that, like I said, the two other fights were overshadowed because of fucking Jake Paul. Because they wanted a man who's pushing 60 to knock out little prick Jake Paul, star of Disney Channel's Bizaardvark. Yes. Anyway, another thing that happened in the fight, just like the presentation, they had Mauro Ranallo, who's excellent. They had Roy Jones Jr., who's a great champion. He's a great boxer. And I thought that was cool. But then they had Rosie Perez also calling the fight, which I'm like, okay, like, why is Rosie Perez calling the fight? I don't really understand that. But, yeah, other way, good announcers for the fight. They had a couple of Jake Paul's people in there. I mean, it's obviously it's a gimmick fight, and it's all about entertainment. Like boxing, football, like it's all about entertainment. It's there to entertain us. So we got to take that with a grain of salt. But you got two really good matches on there. The first match too, like I was watching that. It was this one guy from India. I fucking hold on, forget his name. And then he was fighting some Brazilian YouTuber, and I didn't know he was a YouTuber, but the guy from India who was clearly a boxer and he's clearly a professional fighter, he was just like running laps around them. He was starting to like taunt them and do this. But you know what I did like about that? Dana White can take some pointers on this, because how he killed CM Punk with the thing, that fight, and he killed that other guy's career. The other guy said, hey, do you want me to go a little easy on him, just to try to, because you're trying to like rizz this guy up and make him you're trying to boost this guy up because make him a draw. So I'll go a little easy on him. And he's like, no, just go after him. Just go after him. This guy did not go after the YouTuber for a couple reasons. One, he probably could have knocked his ass out in the first round because he's a professional boxer. And two, like, people, like, they want to watch a fight. They don't want to, like, you want to at least get some of your money's worth. You don't want to see, like, a first round knockout like that all the time. So, yeah, props to him. He did really good that fight. He understood the assignment. And let's talk about what everybody's seen in that, which I was watching and I was like, what the fuck? It was crazy. They had, and this is like the highlight of the night, and it's not even like a good highlight. They were doing an interview with Mike Tyson right there in the locker room. And he's talking about, hey, yeah, this is what we're going to do. He gives the guy, the interviewer, a kiss, and he's like this. Then he's walking away with just nothing but his athletic supporter on, and his whole ass just hanging out. Double cheeked up on a Friday night in Arlington, Texas. You knew he was going to do this interview. Why could you not just put some trunks on the guy? Hey, Mike, can you throw like some workout pants or something? Just some sweatpants? Could you throw on some shorts for just like, 5 minutes so we could do this interview. No. Mike Tyson's bare ass. Tens of millions of viewers saw Mike Tyson's bare ass. Like, I don't know who the producer or who the camera guy was back there, but Netflix, you dropped the ball on that one. Nobody wanted to see a 58-year-old man's ass. Whole ass. Not even like, oh yeah, you saw a little. Whole ass. It's been the joke of the whole internet for the past couple days. Mike Tyson's ass was the highlight of that fight. Because it was an awful fight. But like I said, Bizarre star on the Disney Channel, Jake Paul, may be saving boxing because he's such a fucking prick that people just want to see him get his ass knocked out. People will pay money to see his ass get knocked out. Props to Jake Paul. It's like, and Jake Paul did have like a boxing background before he came in here. That I will say. And he's no slouch. And he does train hard and he's pretty good. But he's not fighting like he fought like a Tommy Fury, who's a Tyson Fury's brother. Got his ass beat. And yeah, he got his ass beat by a real boxer. He fought Nate Robinson, the former 5'9", like NBA star. Andre Iguodala should have won that dunk contest. I don't give a fuck. I'll die on that hill, and I think everybody else will die on that hill. But yeah. So you had that. Couple old MMA stars that he just beat that were past their prime. And again, MMA, they're not used to just boxing. Boxing's a whole different animal. That's why boxing makes them more money than the MMA. And I'm not even going to get into it because we had a UFC fight the next day. And I'll just say it, unpopular opinion here. I think UFC's boring. It's bland. Like, I don't care. Like, people can try to hype that up as much as they want. I don't like it anymore. It's so boring to me anymore. Like, I'm like, oh, this is so boring. Well, they're 5-minute rounds and they do this and they do that. It's like 3 5-minute rounds, or if it's a championship match, it'll go 5 5-minute rounds. I'm like, yeah, but it's fucking boring. And you had two legends in John Jones and Stipe Miocic. Shout out to him. He's a firefighter, first responders. And John Jones beat him. And you kind of figured that he was going to. But yeah, I was bored, man. I'm fucking bored with the UFC. Like, as bad as the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight was, I was happy that I got to see like a boxing match that people gave a shit about, even though it was a gimmicked boxing match, just so Jake Paul can like flex his nuts. And another big thing about it, Mike Tyson got $20 million from the fight. That's a good amount. Good for him. I'm happy Mike got paid. And I'm also happy, first and foremost, I'm happy that he didn't die in the ring. Because he easily could. Like, that's not an easy fucking task, what you're doing. I mean, I know Bernard Hopkins lasted till he was 50. Shout out Philadelphia. But Bernard Hopkins was a fucking physical specimen, and he was a workout machine. And I'm not saying Mike Tyson didn't. He's still in great shape, but it's not the same as it was. Like, you're pushing 60, and I just didn't want to see him die in the ring. Like, that would have been fucking nerve-wracking to me, watching one of the greatest fighters of all time die in the ring. So, furthermore with this, doing this new test run here and this, figured I'd talk about the Tyson and Jake Paul fight. The fight was bad. Jake Paul's going to probably start saving boxing because people want to see him get the shit beat out of him. Mike Tyson didn't die in the ring, and he got paid. Happy that he got paid. Happy that he made some money off this fucking atrocity. The undercard fights, I'm happy that they actually got some exposure, and they got probably the biggest gate that they have ever seen. Like, like the two women, they headlined Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden holds 20,000 people. They did this at Texas Stadium, and there was 80,000 people there. Maybe a little less, but still way more than 20,000. I think both of those fights, all four of those fighters, happy that they got paid, because they got paid something too. Probably not as much as those two, but they got paid, and I'm happy that they got paid. Happy they got exposure, and they had 60,000 people watch them, and they went nuts. They loved that fight. And I'm happy another thing that happened with the fight is that it reminded me of the olden days. It was very nostalgic for me of just how everybody used to get like the big fight, and they all used to watch it. They'd get some beers, they'd get some pizza, they'd make like snacks and all that, and everybody was just happy about the fight. And it didn't matter, like, you can have people over, it didn't matter what color you were, what creed you were, what nationality you were, everybody liked watching the fight. And like, you would have people from work that you really wouldn't say, yeah man, you want to come over for the fight, or hey, you want to do this for the fight? Yeah. And I remember we had the illegal cable box. We got all the fights, and we watched all the fights. Every Saturday night there was a fight. Not every Saturday night, but yeah, you got like these big heavyweight fights, and that was a special thing because they happened to like every twice a year, maybe if you were lucky 3 times a year. Then they started to dwindle, and then people just stopped giving a shit, and it just reminded me of a simpler time when I was like younger. And it reminds me like of why the older people, like the older generations, they used to love boxing. And I don't think it was because, yeah, they liked boxing because of the sport as a whole, which they probably did, but they remember the fondness of those times. Like back then, you got Larry Holmes versus Jerry Cooney. Of course, we could talk about the racism in that because all the white people were hoping that Jerry Cooney was going to beat Larry Holmes, which it didn't happen. All the young Tyson fights, and then you had the GOATs of fights in the 90s. Tyson versus Holyfield, you had a couple of them. And then you had a lot of these great fighters coming up, and you got pay-per-view, invited people over, had a good time. Everybody just had a good time. And it was more of a social thing than anything. And that's what I think that this fight brought in. Because it wasn't a good fight, but, going back, you had the nostalgia there. The only thing that would have made it better was if they got Michael Buffer to do the Let's Get Ready to Rumble thing, but I don't think that was happening. I don't think they were paying him. And Jake Paul's guy or whatever, Big Mo, was there. He did a good job announcing or doing the thing for the fight. But yeah, the only things I'd say, this pros and cons. Pro, Jake Paul's bringing people back to boxing because they want to see his ass get knocked out. Another pro, it felt good just being able to sit there and watch the fight with everybody and just talk about it. Even though you knew it was going to be a shitty fight, you just were happy to, just sit there and watch the fight like olden times. It was great. Cons. Mike Tyson and Jake Paul whoever put that fight on should be a fucking shame of themselves. They should have never had somebody who was 31 years younger. And it's not like, okay, it was like, yeah, 31 years younger, age difference. And that they should just be a fucking shame of themselves for doing that. Another con. Mike Tyson's ass. Didn't need to see Mike Tyson's ass. Didn't need to see his 58-year-old ass. Sorry. You could have had him put on some fucking... Mike, can you throw on some trunks right here? And then the fucking cameraman zoomed in almost at it. He put emphasis on Mike Tyson's ass, and I don't understand why. But further note after this rant, awful fight, but I loved the fact that everybody could watch the fight together and have a good time, like old days. Thank you, Jake Paul, for being such a prick and thank you for getting Mike Tyson paid, but thank you to Jake Paul for being such a prick to make me want to fucking watch you get your ass knocked out so bad. much like everybody else. Disney Channel star of Bizaardvark, Jake Paul. And I am not going to stop saying that about him, because fuck him. That's why. So, that's the end of the show today. Hope you're happy. Hope you liked it. I should say hope you're happy. Hope you liked it. We're going to be doing this. This is a video. We're shooting a video. This is like a stress test for how we're going to do it now, because my app changed and it's just, I have to do it a whole nother way now. But it's going to give us more stuff too. We're going to be having videos. We're going to probably be doing live stuff. Like, I'm doing well on TikTok. I might start doing this on TikTok. Might start streaming some games now that we got this set up. I might start I'm going to post this on YouTube as well. I mean, we're going to get bigger now. Now we have a little bit more. I think this is a good thing. You guys can finally see my pretty face. You can see my new California Republic flag. It's not California. It's New California. It's got the two-headed bear on there. And, yeah, I am excited to see where the future goes with this. Very disappointed in Spotify for, changing the format. This is going to be kind of a pain in the ass for me now, but it is what it is. We're going to make this work. And, I don't know. I hope we could do this more often. I'm going to try my best. Now that I got a setup, I got myself a mic here, got myself a camera now, and I might start doing some more channels too. I might do like a sports channel, talking about sports, and I might do one about credit cards. So we're gonna have some fun here, and I think this is going to be really good. And trust me, I guarantee we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about over the years. The next couple years, there's going to be plenty of content to be made. And we're back, baby. We are back. It's been over a year, but we are back. This is John Albatross signing out. We'll see you again, no longer from the dungeon of Northeast Philly, but the castle of Northwest Philly. Thank you. Peace.